Welcome, everyone. How are you? It's very exciting to have you back. I can't believe it's January. Welcome to WCBOO. Okay, we are, as some of you know, Women's Collegiate Basketball Officials Organization, and we are also known as IBO Board 801. So what's the difference between your hometown IBO board and WCBOO Board 801? Well, the biggest difference is that we're an education board. We're a national organization. We're not a local situation. We don't rate officials. We educate for anyone that wants to learn women's collegiate basketball rules. And so we have some officials on our board that aspire to become women's collegiate basketball officials. And we have some officials who are already at all levels of women's basketball officiating, from junior college up through Division I, from TV to streaming to just having mom and pop in the seats watching you. So welcome. We're excited to have you. We have some new people on the call tonight, so I just wanted to go over and explain a little bit about what WCBOO is and what we do. Again, we're an education board, and one of the things that I'm really passionate about is building an education committee and a culture. All right, this is a culture of learning for all women's basketball officials. And so anyone that is interested in learning should be interested in joining WCBOO. It's easy to join. You can go on to WCBOO.com and there's a join us button. It's only $50 to join. And well, what does that get you besides some great education opportunities? It also gives you personal liability insurance for all of your college level games. And so we think it's a pretty good deal. We hope you do too. And again, we're just really happy to have all of you. I know there's a lot of football games going on tonight, and you have your choice of entertainment. What could you choose? And we're just really happy that you chose WCBOO tonight. We also, being aligned with IBO, it helps us use their education tools to help you as the official master the rules, as Battista likes to say, master the mechanics, help you gain confidence and become a better official. We also have a leadership pipeline with Penny Davis and John Levinson and many others in the NCAA, many coordinators that we've worked with through the years. And, we like to help people improve and get better. We're over 185 officials on our board right now, and that's really exciting to me, covering 20 states and Washington, D.C., and 3 countries. So what have we done recently? Recently, we completed our inaugural session of WCBOO University, which is really the IABO University of Women's Collegiate Edition. And what is that? It's a fully remote online course that the participant can access 8 course modules of rules, take quizzes, answer questions, and they're really well done. They're voiced over. Excellent learning materials, examples, videos, and you also get live instruction, live Zooms. We stored everything on Google Classroom. We recorded everything, and we got some really great comments. The officials that took the course had pretty much, they're already officials. They've taken rules courses in the past, but this is their first collegiate level course. And they felt it was very engaging. There were opportunities for personal growth. And so we're looking forward to offering another section of WCBOO U's Women's Collegiate Edition in the spring. So if you ever need to get in touch with any of us at WCBOO, the easiest way to do that is to go to info, that's INFO, info at WCBOO.com. We have Jim Grillo with us tonight, and he's going to do all things chat. So the rules of the call tonight is simple. Most of you have heard these before. You're going to keep yourself on mute. If you have questions, please don't unmic yourself and interrupt the speaker. So we want you to put your questions in the chat. Jim will be reviewing. Jim is our president. Jim will be monitoring and reviewing the chat and asking the questions. If you want someone to speak, he'll let you know. So if you can keep yourself muted, we're ready to get started. And I'm going to hand it off to, we have Rich Fetter tonight is going to be showing some really great plays. We're really excited to have him back, as well as Battista. I'm going to hand it over. Hope everybody enjoys, and we'll see you next time. Take it away.
All right, thanks, Carrie. Good evening, everybody. I know there's, like Carrie said, a lot of exciting football on today, so thanks for spending your Sunday night with us. So we've got some great plays to show tonight. So I'm going to share my screen. Kind of the theme of the night, as we've gone later in the season, in my games at least, I've seen ball handler dribbler fouls have become a lot more of the focus. And I think now that we've had the ball handler dribbler fouls in the game for quite a while, the defenders are doing a lot better job of obtaining and maintaining legal guarding position and not hand checking, two hands, arm bars. So that we need to make sure that we're protecting the defender as much as we're protecting the ball handler dribbler. So a couple of plays that are around that theme. So let me go ahead and share my screen with the first one. All right, let's see if this will work. All right. So, Al, you able to see my screen?
Yeah. Yes.
So in this play, currently I'm the center on this play, and we're going to have some action here out beyond the 3-point line, and all of our action is going to happen right here over on this elbow here. So a white girl in the white jersey is going to be the ball handler dribbler, be defended by a girl in blue here, and we're going to have a play on a drive to a basket here. So I think what's important here, at least for me in the C here, as my lead rotates over, I'm going to hold and then move towards the trail. I haven't started the play yet on purpose, just to talk through the scenario here. But then I'm going to try to get myself, I've been trying to work in the trail to get a better angle to see between players, especially beyond the 3-point arc, to see point of contact, anything that could happen after, even though my lead's moving over. Obviously, as a trail, I want to move to 28, but if needed, I need to go where I need to go to officiate this play. So I'm going to have this roll through now.
Pass for Helms. Helms against Vanderhoop. Caverly now puts the ball on the floor.
I'm just going to pause it here, and then the action is going to happen here in about a second.
And that's the call I thought we were going to get against Laurel a few.
And for me here, I felt I got my positioning in the right angle to see between the players and see clear displacement between white and blue. If I would have continued to rotate up towards or beyond the 28-foot mark, I don't think I would have had any whistle on this play, because I wouldn't have been as confident in terms of my positioning here. So I can roll this back, and Al, as always, I'd love your take on any positioning here. A little too far back.
Bounce pass for Helms.
So let's stop right there.
The
That's okay. I'm sorry. Let's stop at the original setup, Rich. Can we go back to the original setup?
Okay. All the way back to 10 line?
Well, no, when we get up to when we first started.
Here we go.
Okay, yeah, stop right there. Okay. Now, the first thing, everybody, when you're watching tape, find your clocks. So we got 8:01:26. Okay, we got 8:01. You just get in that habit, so you just get clock awareness. The second thing is, when you're going from trill to lead, you got to get down there and be ready to accept the play. So our lead is he eventually gets down there, but I'd like to see more effort and urgency. Now, the other thing about this is, what is Rich refereeing right now? He's basically refereeing a 2-on-2 game. Look, ball handler, the defender, and so on. Now, in this scenario, when you're watching tape, I want you to get in this habit, is to referee 70% offense because they're holding the ball and 30% defense. And you want to do this: beat, pivot, release. Once that is legal, then you have to switch your eyes. And everybody on the call, this is probably new to you, but if you start doing this, you're going to get really good. Then you're going to switch your eyes and go 70% defense and 30% offense. And what would you watch in the defender? Watch their hands, or maybe, or maybe their eyes or whatever, but you got to pick up that defense. I would recommend to watch their hands because you usually foul with their hands. Okay. So we get down here and Rich is in a very good position. Our the trill in this scenario really has nothing. So the trill, she can take her eyes and start helping Rich over there. Okay. So when you see this play, everybody, when she sets up like that, 90% of the times, this is called a crossing play. And a crossing play is not covered in the Federation manual. It's not covered in the NCAA men's or women's manual. And it's not covered in the FIBA manual. Yeah, but crossing play, it's not a curl, it's a cross. It's a little bit different. And a crossing play, our trill is got to get down here and be ready to officiate. I'll watch this, everybody. So here we go. 70% legal, okay? And see now, there's the cross. So the cross is really not covered. It's kind of covered. Now, our shooter's got the ball, right? So we got to go feed, pivot, release. We got to get in that habit. Feed, pivot, release. Here we go. Feed, pivot. Now Rich is going to go feed, pivot, release. Now they're good and excellent. Very nice call. Okay. Now, why is that a player control foul? Okay, so we're going to talk about a guideline. So just watch me, everybody. If my wrist goes past my elbow or towards my elbow, and I make contact and I displace someone like the dribbler did on this scenario, that's an offensive foul. Okay. So again, feet, here we go again. So he's going to now get you to boom, and that's a push off. Really nice job. Now, next thing on this is we all have to do better on this in all officiating. So let's do it again. Kick out, feed, pivot, release. She's good. Push off. Rich makes the call. He's going to report it. Okay. Our trail has got to stay engaged and keep watching everybody. She can't turn her back. Okay. And we all do this because when the ball's dead, you got to become alive because you don't know what can happen. And maybe nothing's going to happen this game, but it's that one time it does happen. And we just don't have the good habits. The next thing is that we have to remember is where are we putting the ball in play? Okay, here's just some things to think about. All right, where are we going to put the ball in play? And watch Rich really has a nice sequence to the table. Good, and he's really strong to the table, and really nice call and good presentation. So when you're watching tape, not just to see about the call, but look at your positioning, look at the clocks, get involved in all that scenario, all those scenarios. The other thing, as Rich said, he good job. He gets the open angle. Now, when you go from trill to C, can we go back? Can we go back to the original setup? When you go from trill to C, okay, here we go. You have to do three things. One, you have to think big picture. So there's your big picture. All those players in the middle. Trill to C, probably want to get down to the free throw line, extend it. Then you have to lift your eyes and referee moving players. So our new C has got to referee this, the shooter, the player, and also in the beginning, get those players in the lane. And on the catch again, feet, pivot, release. Okay, good. Then go 70% defense on the dribble. Okay. And you see right there, she's got to make a position adjustment towards the sideline, because right there, she's in a, and I'm not picking on anybody, but this is what I would do in my tapes. This is what I got to make a position adjustment to the right, maybe to create an open angle. See, there's the stack. And look at the stance, it's neutral. When you get in these neutral stances, you can't move your feet. Also, our lead, see where our lead is? Our lead's in a neutral stance. Get on your back foot, because remember what Ivy told everybody, when you're in the lead, you're accepting plays. You're accepting, you're patient. So the more you get on the back foot, it's going to help. Anything else, Rich?
No, that was really helpful. That was great. Just let that run through one more time. Okay. All right, great. Jim, we have any questions on this one? I'll take that as a no
Yep.
then.
Nope, chat's been pretty quiet. We can move on to the next one.
Okay, great. So next play is not mine, so I don't want to score it, but someone else on the WCBOO board, Scott Birkinson, in a very good play as well. So I'm going to switch over to his play in the same venue. And I think I need to reshare my screen. Just give me 1 second here. Where's the Zoom at? All right, let's get out of that one and go to this one. There we go. All right, Scott, you there?
I'm here.
Okay. So you want to set this play up?
Sure. So on the ticker, obviously you could see that we're going to be shooting in the bonus both ways. So just keep that in mind when the play occurs. So right now we're going to have a play where blue is trying to actually just throw, I believe it's an entry pass or a ball handler dribbler is trying to get the ball towards like the far corner, but something's going to happen prior to that. But just keep your eyes on the shot clock and keep your eyes on this area in front of Blue's bench.
Shot clock.
Turn the volume off.
So I don't know if you want to play that one just one more time. Kind of a lot going on. So from my angle, we have basically two players attempting to go get the ball at the first part of the play. Unfortunately, white player is on the floor. When blue tries to get the ball, the blue player right here trips over the white player who's on the floor. So as we all know, unfortunately, sometimes, I mean, I would say most times when people foul, they don't try to do it on purpose. That is not legal guarding position, laying on the floor. She was on the floor. She was also probably moving a little bit. So the trail, the new lead was, we spoke about this after, and she kind of said she was a little bit swallowed up. Sometimes the closest person to the play has actually the worst view because so many things are happening and it's so close to you. From my angle, there's actually an angle on DV Sport, but just for the sake of time, I didn't want to show it, where you could see clearly from my angle, the camera on the baseline, the girl kind of get tripped over the girl who's not a legal defender at that point. She's not legal guard position, laying on the floor. So unfortunately, the foul is going to be on her. But now, once we blow the whistle, we have a lot more going on because we now have the question of, is there team control or are we shooting? Because at that point, when I blew the whistle, it felt as if we were all transitioning up the floor, meaning that there was a chance that white did possess the ball. So if white possesses the ball at that point and the foul, and it's not when the foul occurs, remember, because it's not zeros on the clock, it would be when I blow the whistle, because we did not hit 0 on the shot clock. So there's a ton of things going on here. If there's an expiration of shot clock, we can kind of back our way in by saying, you know, we're seeing if the foul occurred before the expiration of the shot clock period, but because it did not, unfortunately, we were, you know, going off our own basically judgment. So we all got together and we all agreed that we were moving up the floor. We agreed that at the point that I called a foul. So if you see, you slow it down really, really, really slow, you could see kind of my body. I'm on the baseline calling a foul. If you got to do it really frame by frame. So I'm going to say it's right. If you take it back one, go back a little bit. Right, go slow, forward, right there. So and to be honest with you, we did not have any idea on the floor. We just used our better judgment. So it's something that close. So because white did not fully possess the ball, we gave blue 2 foul shots. If I call that foul and white clearly possesses the ball, that is not a shooting foul. That is a team control foul with white having the ball. So, you know, we took an educated guess. We got together and we also said, you know what, there's still 2 seconds on the shot clock. So we, you know, not that we cheated, but we used that information to say, you know what, maybe there wasn't a new 30-second shot clock for white. So blue never fully lost possession of the ball and they never lost team control. So this is just, I mean, there's a ton of things going on in this play. So it's a really good learning piece. And you know what? We just got together, the 3 of us. Yes, the foul came from the lead, the new trail, which is me. And, you know, even though that's not the you know, it's definitely a distance to call foul. That really wasn't the big question. It was whether or not we were shooting and whether or not, you know, those foul shots should be awarded. If we had team control on blue, if there was no team control, if we had team control on white, it was just a ton of things going on. So I think just a lesson of getting together, you know, we all agreed, but sometimes we don't all agree. Sometimes majority rules and we need a decision on the floor. We couldn't go to the monitor because there was no timing issue. So a lot of times we do go to the monitor, we can go for timing and you know what, we can get some information, but at that point we can't because the shot clock, you know, we still had 2 seconds on the shot clock. So just a ton of things. I mean, I'm here if there's any questions, but I just thought this was a good play to learn from. And, you know, the foul is a foul. And that was kind of, you know, just how we got to this point, but a lot more things happened after the foul was called. I'm just looking in the chat right now. So Sherry, that's a good point. So that doesn't mean that, because as we know that shot clock operators are human beings and they make mistakes and they're not, you know, they're going off their judgment just like we are. So we just felt that the 3 of us didn't feel that white possessed the ball. So we didn't have a change of team control, and we used the shot clock still having 2 seconds on it as almost a clutch for our decision, if that makes sense. So that we're not basing it off the shot clock, but we're just trying to gather as much information as we can to make the right decision on the floor, you know, because there's 3 of us, you know, so we're just doing the best we can with the information we have. And, you know, we all got together and said that there wasn't team control fully for white yet. So we're going to shoot. And then once we saw the shot clock, it almost validated our decision. Doesn't mean we're going to be wrong, right when we go to the tape, but, you know, on the floor, we have to make a call. Just a real interesting play. See if there's anything else in the chat. I don't see anything.
No, Scott, you're good on that play there.
Okay. Thanks, Jimmy.
All right. Al, do you want to kind of walk through a couple things mechanically on this one here?
Yeah. The first thing is when we go back from the beginning, please? So let's okay. So this is the beginning,
Pretty
right?
much.
Okay. So one thing we have to be aware of, 112.11, because we really want to be, if you're playing with a monitor, or you're not playing with the monitor, we want to beat the monitor. So we're saying 112.11. So we have to say the mindset should be, okay, 101 possible shot clock violation. You got, just get in that habit. 101 possible shot clock violation. Now the next thing, well, I like what Scott does, and why does he come and get this play? Well, there's a guideline. You go out of your second, you go out of your primary, okay? You go out of your primary when it's a strike right down the middle. The foul here was a strike right down the middle. It wasn't on the corners. It was right down the middle, and someone's got to get this play, okay? And Scott has no one, so he can help. And a great cadence whistle, and he comes and gets it, okay? Now, the center on this play just has to be a little bit engaged. She has a non-competitive matchup, nothing going on. She might want to take her attention over this to help out as well. And if she has a closed look, she cannot get involved but you see our trill has got to get a little bit more sideline oriented. Start from your sideline, everybody, and then attack to get your angles. Because if you start there, these players are going to just blow up on you. You're going to get straight line. They're going to surprise you. All I'm saying when I say sideline oriented, you're going to start on your sideline, then attack to get your angles. So, and you'll watch, and the stances are so important, because when you get in these neutral stances, your eyes actually will freeze. I'm not kidding you, they'll actually freeze. If you get staggered, your eyes get really active. So watch what happens to our trill. And again, I'm not Chris, we could all learn from this. There's the neutral. And maybe some of the weight was on the back foot. When you get your weight on your back foot, it's really hard to make calls. And if you stay attached to that sideline, you won't cross your feet like that, because when you start crossing your feet like that, you get off balance. But great pickup by Scott on this play. Great pickup. Okay, and I don't see White ever gaining control of it, Scott. You got the call right. And the other thing is, everybody, let's get in the habit. Okay, Scott got the foul call, and we know we're in the bonus. Who's our shooter? Get in that habit. Who's our shooter? Well, we know our shooter's on the floor, and we'll eventually get it. Because if they call a timeout, we got to know who our shooter is. Okay, very, very important. And this is just a good drill to get your shooter on tape, because it will, when you get into the games, it starts becoming a habit. Very nicely done, Scott. Really nice.
Thanks, Al. Thanks for your explanation.
Great. Scott, thank you for sharing that play with us. And Al, as always, thank you for breaking that down, looking at it from a different perspective. We're going to move on to the next play. And once again, folks, if you've got some questions or something that you'd like one of our presenters to address, please feel free to drop it in the chat, and we'll get that out there to our presenters as quick as we can.
All right, the next one. This is, all right, let me grab this one. This is fresh from yesterday. So let me pull this up and share my screen. Share, here we go. Okay, so actually this is the end of the play, so let me back it up. So this is a play that's going to happen. The lead's going to rotate over, and the action is going to happen right around here in the lane area. And it's going to be off the ball. So we're going to have a cutter cut through, and a defender's going to get displaced here, and the call is going to come from the lead. So I'll let this play through, and then I'll slow it down. But I think this is a really good play in terms of coverage areas, which I think Al will be able to break down very well for us here. So I'll roll this through here. throw more. So here I thought, sorry, Al, were you saying something?
No, no, sorry.
So here I think our lead did a good job of getting over in terms of helping out with strong side coverage here, especially at the point where I have the ball handler, dribbler, and I have an active count happening. So I think in terms of coverage, we did a really good job of helping each other out. I'll play it one more time through, and love to get Al's perspective here. Anything, Al?
Yeah, the first thing, let's look at our trill. So anytime, again, everybody, let's get our clocks. So trill, when the ball's in the middle of the floor, everybody, from the NBA on down, everyone has problems with this play, ball in the middle of the floor. And we have to talk about in our pre-games, who has this? The trill has this play, okay? And if you look at the trill, really, she's attached to the sideline. I'd rather just see her eyes on the defender. 70%, remember, when someone's dribbling, 70% defense and 30% offense. When someone's holding, 70% offense. I mean, 70% offense and 30% defense. But in this scenario, I'd rather see her eyes on the defender because the dribbler is really not going to hurt her. Okay, but she's set up well, nice balance. Rich, where are you looking? Are you looking off the ball?
I'm looking like right in here.
Good, nice, really nicely done. Okay, lead really doesn't have to concern about these two players in the corner. Okay, because what's probably going to happen, it might be a drive and a pass to her, but lead is in a really nice closed down position. Okay, so our first play that we really have to worry about, if we run it, okay, so good, Rich, good, that's really good. Okay, so Rich, right now you're going 70-30, and all I would want you to do right now, Rich, is just open up a little bit because you're going to have to referee this screener.
Yep.
Just open up just a tad and maybe come down a step, okay? And by the way, everybody, we all have to work on this. This is not as easy, but if we get these habits on tape, we'll get better and better and better. Our lead, okay, our lead right now should be over there. And I don't know if they get over there. So here we go. Screen legal? Yeah, it's legal. And now as a lead, I have to say, okay, she doesn't have the ball. So what's our rule when you don't have the ball? Let's review it, everybody. What's legal guarding position? 2 feet on the floor facing your opponent. Now judgment comes into play. 1 to 2 strides, depending upon the speed movement of the player. Does she give her enough time? I say yes. Okay, Sherry, would you agree?
Definitely.
Yeah, she gives her enough time. Okay, because time and distance now is relevant. Okay, and Rich, right there, you see when you're counting. Okay. Let me ask everybody, I'm not saying not to call them because you have to call violations, but how many closely guarded violations do we call a year? Okay, you got to count. All I want you to do is, I just want you to lift your eyes, count and help the lead. Just help the lead, scan and help, and be ready for a cadence whistle. And you could still referee 70-30. And here we go. Good. Okay, everybody, we have an offensive foul. All right. And where are we going to put the ball in play? At the spot of the foul. Okay. So, Sherry, you on the end line, would you agree with that?
End line at the hash mark there. Yes.
Yep. Very nice. Very good. Okay. And yeah, Tim Lorraine said we would really like to get our lead a tad wider. In fact, when I'm watching, when I'm watching a lot of college games, let's start getting a little wider, everybody. It just opens up a panoramic view for you. It just opens up a little things more for you. I'm not saying when you rotate, of course you can't get wide, but when you complete your rotation, maybe just a tad wider and just experiment with it on the floor. Okay, so good foul call. Okay, Rich, the only thing I want you to do in this is when you go down the floor, just make sure you watch all the players.
Yep.
Everybody, let's start getting that habit. Let's really become good dead ball officials. Okay, so you see our Trill goes away, Rich goes away, he's reporting, and all the players are on the honor system. And probably nothing happened. But it's that one time. It's that one time it happens. And then it's hard to explain to an assigner or a supervisor or whoever. So let's stay in the good habits.
No, that's a good
nice.
point, Al, because especially we look at the time here, we're only a minute 15 into the game. We actually find out at halftime that this was a
And
rivalry last season. And we
And
actually
it's 20-0 too, right?
Yeah.
Is it 20-0?
No, that's the shot clock.
Oh, okay. Oh,
That's-
still okay. Okay. But yeah. All right.
No.
Okay.
But we had two players substitute technical fouls in this game yesterday.
Yeah. So
At
yeah,
different
so
times.
the more we can have good dead ball officiating, you say, well, nothing happens. Yeah, it's going to be that one time. Those little things are going to help you with the signers or interpreters or whatever. In fact, when I observe, I always say good dead ball officiating, and everyone says, what do you mean by that? And so when you make an out of bounds call, you're looking at everybody instead of turning your back.
Mhm.
That's good dead ball officiating. And same here when you're switching or you're going on good dead ball officiating. You want to have good dead ball officiating.
Jim, anything on that play?
Nope, we had Al already took care of the question that Tim put up. So thank you, Tim, for that question. And we can move on to our next play.
Great. All right. So this is actually similar to the play that we had Scott talk through. So let me go ahead and share my screen. A little different scenario, but very similar. So in this play, the action is going to happen. So we're not up the floor yet, but it's going to happen on the table side block down just above the end line. So it's going to be, we have a quote unquote crash, but then we have a shooter going up and then it gets tripped underneath. So I'll let this play through. Actually, let me cut the volume here. There we go. There's actually a lot here in terms of coverage since we do have a double whistle here. So I think a lot in terms of communication and recognizing that we have a double whistle. And on signaling here. So we have a drive to the basket by White. Blue defender makes a very poor attempt to draw a charge here. More of the wind going by or falls over. But then we have a White ball handler dribbler go up, comes down and falls over a defender on the floor who's not in legal guarding position here. So she was not entitled to land on the floor. So we had a double whistle on this play based on where the play happened. And we correctly ruled a blocking foul and we scored the basket. So our C held her fist up and then the lead came in with the blocking foul here. So I will roll it back now. And Al, anything from a positioning mechanical here?
Okay, so let's back up again.
Yep.
So Trill, beautiful, great positioning. Rich, great, you're there, you're ready. So Trill, on this play, the only player you're going to focus on, again, everybody, what we're going to try to do is everybody in the call, every game you work, we're going to try to cut down on these double whistles. And it's just a matter of trust. Sometimes react, that's okay. I don't mind a double whistle in this play, but Trill, the only player you have to focus on is this backside player. That's it. This backside defender. And you're refereeing 70-30. Okay. Now, here we go. Lead, you just have to get to this defender. That's all you have to do. That's all you have to do, lead. And we have a flop. Okay. And good. Okay. I mean, all right. You're going to have a double whistle in this play, in my opinion. But I like the communication. Great. The center just gives the signal, and the lead. The only thing I like to see the lead do a little bit better is look at the center and just say, I got it. Okay. You know, and then she gives a nice, strong blocking signal, and everything's really good. Now, let's watch her switch. Are we watching players? Good, Rich. Nice report. very good dead ball officiating. Very nice. And I'm glad the lead was very patient and didn't get fooled, and very nicely done. Again, everybody, get your shooter. I think it's 21. Is that right, Rich?
Yep.
Yeah. So, I mean, little things like that. You say, well, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, but you would be surprised in the heat of battle. Oh, who's on my shooter? Oh, what's on the clock? Oh, I lost my fouler. You know, these things happen. And then you kind of lose credibility when you kind of miss those plays or miss those type of things. Anything else, Rich, you want to add to this? Or
No, and I will say, so understanding personnel, and this is a league for John Levinson, where there is actually a girl on Bucknell who is known to flop. So the fact that we had one for Navy was quite unexpected here. But I think, you know, we always want to expect the unexpected, especially when we're in conference play. And I think to your point here, you know, I think we did a nice job, especially the center and the lead here, of acknowledging eye contact, slowing down, the center holding her fist up, and, you know, releasing to the lead here.
Yeah,
so
really
overall,
nice job.
We handled this pretty well.
Okay, good, really nice job. And just remember, everybody, in Sherry confirmed, there's really no, like NCAA men, they have a flop warning, then there's a penalty. In FIBA, it's the same thing. But the NCAA woman, I know in the rule book, they address it to get, but there's really no penalty for it. And I know they say faking being fouled, but that only applies to basically replay games.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know, or replay review, it only applies to replay review. So you really just got to do your best and not get fooled by it. You know, and tell me what you think, Sherry. Maybe go to the player or Rich and say, hey, stop doing it. Just stop doing it. You know, or in this call, you know, she got called. I don't know if she got called for the foul, but she actually created the foul.
Yeah, she was called for the foul.
Yeah, right. She actually,
Yeah, in that situation, and to call out, but our white number 3 here, she is a seasoned flopper. So she's the one more in this game where, and I think my next play is with her. We've addressed it and said you're not going to get the foul by doing that, and it may jeopardize you when you actually take one.
Right. Yeah, and usually floppers sit down. They use histrionics, like, oh, their chins go back. Usually when someone, not all the time, but usually when someone takes a charge, they end up on their back. They don't sit down. Okay. Just a guideline, not set in stone, just a guideline, something to look for.
Okay, great. Jim, anything in the chat on this one?
Nope, I think Al covered everything there, so we can move on to what's going to be our final play for the evening.
Okay, great. So we're going to stick with the same, I think the same game. No, actually different game. Sorry, I thought I had another one from there. Let me pull this up. We have, find it, flop on drive. Here it is. Okay, So on this one, let me share my screen. So here we're going to have a drive that's going to originate at the top of the arc here. We're going to drive down to the basket here by white. And we have a red defender to what Al just mentioned here is sitting versus being displaced, in our opinion, on this game. So I'm going to go ahead and play it through. Kill the volume. So 3 is going to catch the ball here. So 3-on-3. Play it one more time. So in this game, we felt like we had a lot of decisions to make as well, especially with 3 versus 3. 3 very aggressive guard on white, and the red 3 can be somewhat animated in terms of her decisions when guarding white 3. So on this play, I felt like I had a pretty good open angle on the C to see in between here, and I did not see any illegal displacement by white 3, more of red 3 sitting, throwing her body back to try and draw the charge, and understanding that white 3 is their star player. So red was doing everything in their power to get her into foul trouble. Obviously, we don't want to protect those star players and keep them away from fouls, but keeping in mind what an opponent's going to do to try to bait officials in a sense into these types of plays here. So overall, I felt like from a crew, and we'll see what Al has to say, but I felt like we had pretty good coverage from start to finish on this play.
Rich, just a question that popped in the chat here quickly before we let Al talk about the mechanics. Just in terms of your thought process here, why did you go with a no call there as opposed to a blocking foul on red 3?
That's a good question. In watching this play and remembering the play, I felt red and white both did everything they wanted to do in terms of going to the basket, and white's rhythm, speed, balance, and quickness was not affected by the play going to the basket. If she would have tripped over red, we would have put a block on it, or if red would have stepped into her. But white 3 ends up trying to pull up for a jump shot here. So in my opinion, I felt like she did everything she wanted to do on the play and was not, none of that was disrupted in terms of RSBQ.
Right. Yeah, that's a great explanation there, Rich, for the thought process there. Another question, Sherry actually popped into the chat there. In terms of pre-gaming, not only a play like this, but this type of scenario, knowing that you have these 2 guards that are really aggressive and who's got the reputation for flopping, and what is the interaction between these 2 teams and some of the players on the teams, maybe just take us through a little bit of that locker room discussion with your crew pre-game and then at halftime once you saw this unfold.
Yeah, that's a good point. So for me, in terms of historical, this was the first time I had seen Holy Cross. I had seen Colgate, who's in red, twice. So was very familiar with them and knew their personnel. However, this, which I did not know until halftime, was a rivalry last year, and I did not officiate last year. And my partners did not have either matchup. We actually found out through a coach that this was a rivalry last year. So in terms of personnel, but pregame, we did talk about white 3 as being the go-to for scoring. And all the information I shared in terms of the only one having Colgate, the team in red, was, that there was nobody on the team that I had identified as flopping, because this season, especially in this league, flopping has been a big focus. But at halftime, after seeing we had a couple of these decisions to make in the first half, you look, we're inside a minute left in the first quarter. At halftime, we discussed this in terms of, let's be really mindful of, if there's clear displacement, let's put whistles on that, but let's not get baited into those situations. Keeping in mind that, we don't want to put somebody in foul trouble when they're not warranted of that foul. So it's a very good, it's something that you should always be thinking about at times, especially of knowledge of these teams. I think that's really important in a pregame, is to share any knowledge of problem childs, the go-to scores, matchup history. That all comes into play because, as I mentioned earlier, with this game, we had two technical fouls in this game. And at the very end of the game, we found out a story of last season of why this has become a rivalry. So, the more that you can get before the game, obviously you're not going to get anything. It becomes knowledge for us pregame and at halftime where we can adjust to those situations.
Okay. Rich, thanks for sharing all that. Al, we got probably about 3 minutes or so on this. So if you've got some mechanical things to discuss, as I'm sure you always do, go for it.
Yeah, real quickly, let's look at the Trill, everybody. Really good off the ball coverage. I mean, she's not looking where Rich is and so on. And she's refereeing these cutters. Rich, the only thing I like to see you do again is just lift your eyes.
Yep.
And just get in that habit, 70-30, 70-30. And the last thing I would really like to see, because Rich, you're actually possibly maybe, because our lead's looking out here, I would like to see a rotation by him right now, right when she caught that ball. Okay. Because he could have helped. See, if he was over there, right?
Mhm.
In my opinion, if he was over there, I think he would, the flop would have been more, I don't know the word, it would have really looked better. Because right now you're actually refereeing too many players. You're refereeing them, you're refereeing her, and so you're refereeing a competitive 3-on-3 game by yourself. Our Trill, she does take her eyes over, but he has nothing to referee. Right when it was over there, if he made an accelerated pace over there, that would have really looked good. And then you could have been a temporary center. Does that make sense? That would have really looked good. And just from a mechanics point of view, I agree with the flopping call, but I just think it would have really looked good. And he still could have gotten the rebound foul.
Mhm.
And just everybody too on this one too, remember you got to stop your clock. Get in that habit of stopping your clock, get in that habit. Because right now, if I'm watching the game, I go, what do we have? Oh, okay, now I know what we have. But right when I see that fist, I know there's a possibility of a foul on somebody. What he does do well, he does say, hey, we're staying here. And that's all I got basically on this play. But good positioning by everybody. The only thing I would say is, maybe have a rotation. Before any of that sets up.
Mhm. Great. Jim, anything else on that? I know we just hit our time here.
Yeah, so just the last point that was raised in the chat there is about the lead possibly getting straight lined if he rotates. And I guess, Al, that speaks to your point of having that accelerated pace to get there in enough time to create that space.
But that's where, and Sherry, you're probably right, but that's where our new center comes in and they can help with that rebound.
Yep.
There's really nothing perfect, on this, but I just feel if he got over there, would have made the whole optics of the flop look a lot better.
Yeah, I think that adds to the believability when you've got the lead on that side of the court there. So that's great. I appreciate everybody with their time and sharing those plays, particularly for Scott and Rich. It's not always easy to put yourself out there under the microscope and not only saying, all right, let's look at these plays, but for Rich and for Scott to say, hey, let's look at my plays and something that I did and I'm a part of. So really want to thank Rich and Scott in particular for sharing that with WCBOO, and also to Al for his comments there on the mechanics. Really just to summarize some excellent information, of course. And Al, you must have said about 6 or 7 different times in the call tonight about getting into good habits and being able to do some of those little things, watching those players, that dead ball officiating, picking up our clocks, the contact on the ball handler dribbler and enforcing the rules as written, Kerry and I are both observers for a couple of different conferences. We both had games yesterday. And in talking to each other afterwards, it's amazing how many of these little things kind of crop up. In the game that I observed, there was a clock error that one of the three officials really needed to notice and nobody picked up on. Kerry's game featured a lot of contact involving the ball handler, dribbler, and a couple of instances where all three officials are looking the other way, as during the dead ball. So that's some good stuff for us to keep in mind. We're in January now. All of our leagues are in conference play at the collegiate level. We're getting closer to the playoffs here, and the intensity certainly is at a height. As we wrap up, I want to just go back to the chat here. Mark and Anthony both had a couple of questions there, just about that comment you made, Al, previously about feet, pivot, and release, what you're looking at there with the ball handler.
Right. So everybody, when someone catches the ball, okay, you're looking at the offense, okay, and you're going feet, you find their feet, okay, then you find their pivot foot. So if I step with my right, my left's my pivot usually. If I step with my left, my right's my pivot. So I go feet, okay, pivot, okay, I got it. Now they release the ball, it's legal. So I go feet, pivot, I release, it's legal. Or it could be feet, pivot, I lift my pivot, now release, we got travel, okay? So feet, pivot. So we're just going to say it's legal. Feet, pivot, release, we're legal, right, everybody? Now from there, I go right to my defender. So beginning, I'm going 70% offense. I'm finding my offense, feet, pivot, release. Okay, we're legal. Okay, now, and once it's legal, I'm going to my defender. And then I'm going to switch my mindset. Now I'm going 70% defense and 30% offense. Does that make sense to everybody? Because when I'm watching games, because amateur basketball does not talk about sequencing, and basically all basketball should talk about sequencing. Okay, because that's how you're going to really start getting plays right night in and night out, especially those travels and those perimeters. Because just think about it, we have to call the hand checking and the tagging and all that. Am I right? Well, if we're going to call that, which is fine, we can't miss the perimeter travels. We can't miss them, everybody. We can't miss the palming, any of that. The release means start of the dribble.
Yep. Very, very good, Al. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And Sherry just put that right in the chat there. So we're good. Just a couple of quick things as we wrap up here tonight. Our next in-season series will be on Sunday, February the 27th at 8 p.m. Pre-tournament, if you will, pre-playoffs. So looking forward to getting back on that. Word of welcome here to Julie Gopal. Julie joins us from IBO Board 150 in Maine. Julie has been added to the WCBOO Educational Team, got a wealth of experience. Was very involved in the creation of the IBO University course and the WCBOO University course. So Julie, thanks for coming on board. Appreciate having you. Most of you probably saw the email from IBO earlier this afternoon about the officials versus cancer. That's coming up in the very near future. WCBOO is very happy to be part of that as well. So you may want to check with your local boards about what's happening in your area with regard to officials versus cancer. Really awesome charity that IBO and its member officials work with. As I said, we're going to be back here again for our in-season series on Sunday evening, February the 27th. Tell someone, bring a friend, really good stuff here happening, particularly with our play breakdown here. It's amazing. We only looked at 5 plays tonight, folks, and we were able to, we spent about 60 minutes here together. There's a lot you can look at in video, and hopefully seeing it over and over again in slow motion, frame by frame, looking at different elements of the same play really allows all of us as officials to get into that great habits. Okay. So want to be respectful of everybody's time. We said we would end for 9 o'clock and we are on time. So